Good day everyone, this is Coach Ed. For today's video, we will analyze the game between Mikhail Tal and Lev Psakhis. We know Mikhail Tal. He loves sacrificing his piece or pieces against his opponent, but this time it's different. It's the other way around. Lev Psakhis sacrificed his pieces against Mikhail Tal. If you are excited, let's check this game. D4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight f3, b6. This opening is called Queen's Indian Defense, and the main purpose of this b6 move is to have your bishop b7 to control the center and king side of white. So if you are successfully managed to have that kind of pressure, then you may win the game. So let's continue. Knight c3, normal development. You have to control the e4 or the e4 and the d5 squares. Bishop b4, we usually see this move in Nimso opening, but this time, Lev Psakhis decided, okay, I gotta pressure knight because the knight e4 might be possible on this game. Let's continue. E3, you have to make sure your bishop on f1 will have an access going to d3 to control this long diagonal. Bishop b7, remember guys, especially if you are a beginner, if you move your b6 or g6, g3 or b3, you have to have your bishop on b7 or g7, g2 or b2, or else it might be a weakness that your opponent may attack or may use against you. So let's continue. Bishop d3, it's more active. Compare bishop e2, castling, and then d5. It is important to control the center at the same time to challenge the center of your opponent. Bishop d2, capture, knight bd7. Of course, knight bd7 is way better than having your knight here on c6. You don't want your bishop to have a less mobility. So knight bd7 on the board. Queen e2, two rooks are connected. c5, breaking the center. Rook d1. Of course, you have to make sure that your rook is active and getting the open file. Even though there's no open file yet, who knows, later on, d takes c will happen. But Lev Psakhis decided, okay, gonna capture your d instead of you capturing my c pawn. So e takes c, isolated pawn. But we know Mikhail Tal, he didn't care anything at all. He loves the open game and bombarding his opponent with sacrifices. Bishop takes knight, pawn takes knight. The isolated pawn is no longer isolated. This A, you have nothing to worry because you could move a4 and then a5 to challenge the b pawn. Knight e4, bishop e1. Tal had no plan to give up his pair of bishops. Rook c. The idea of rook c is to target the c3. Of course, if the bishop moves, the knight and the rook are attacking the c3. So rook c1, additional defender. Knight g5 and knight d2. So Tal didn't want to engage into any kind of change. Why? If knight takes, queen takes, there would be a pressure on g2 pawn. So knight d2 was moved. Knight h3, unexpected sacrifice by Lev Psakhis. So was it a bluff? If you are playing white, are you going to capture the sacrifice knight or just move your king away from the check? So let's see what Mikhail Tal did here. He just captured the knights. Like, hey, there's not enough piece for you to checkmate me. But Lev Psakhis is not a quitter and not yet done. Rook takes bishop, sacrificing the rook. So right now, white is a rook up here. Queen takes rook. Queen g5 check. So what would happen if after rook takes bishop, knight takes? There will be queen g5 check. If you move, of course, queen, there will be checkmate. You don't want that. If, for example, queen going here, queen d5, attacking the knight. Of course, there's a threat mate on h1. So Mikhail Tal didn't want that position. Instead, queen takes rook on the board, queen g4, king f1, queen g2, and now king e2. Earlier, the queen is on e2, so queen g5 and queen g2 is effective, but this time, king e2 was the best way to escape your king. e5, trying to open the e file for a rook check, and then knight f1. Mikael Tal was not only a good attacker, also a good defender. Of course, the knight can jump here on e3 to cover any kind of check from the rook. Capture, knight c5, another sacrifice by Lev Psakhis. And Mikael Tal just captured that once. Hey, what are you doing? You don't have enough piece to checkmate me. I have what? 5 versus 3 pieces. And then queen f3, king d2, queen a3, queen b3, and black resigns because there is not enough pieces to corner the king. If we will continue the game, rook d8, and then let's say king c3, queen c5, just you could just king b2, and 3 pieces are not enough to checkmate Mikael Tal. In spite of this result, in spite of the lost game, it's a rare fit for you to sacrifice against Mikael Tal. So this is still a great game for Lev Psakhis. If you enjoyed this video, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe and follow my Facebook page. Thank you so much.